You're listening to the AI Podcast Experience, where artificial intelligence drives deep, curious, and thought-provoking conversations.
Okay, let's think about this for a second. The better we actually get at talking to AI, the more powerful it becomes, for us.
Right. These language models, they're everywhere now.
Exactly. So figuring out how to guide them effectively, that's becoming a really essential skill.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into exactly that, prompt engineering.
Which is, well, it's kind of the art and science of giving AI the right instructions.
Right, to get the kinds of results you actually need.
And for you listening, especially if you want to get up to speed quickly in this area because it moves so fast, this deep dive should really help.
Yeah, we've dug into quite a bit of material.
We have. We looked at Klaus Nygaard's work, Fremtidens Technologiska Samtalekunst med Prompt Engineering Fluid. Also, a really insightful blog post from Astra Software called Hover for AI Handler at Meester Prompts.
Okay.
Plus the tutorials point guide on prompt engineering, and even a Reddit discussion about how people are actually learning prompt engineering.
So real-world perspectives, too.
Exactly. So our mission today is basically to unpack what this prompt engineering thing really is, why it's, well, so important right now, and maybe how you can start to understand it and use its power.
Okay, let's dive right in then. So prompt engineering, what is it, really, in simple terms?
At its core, it's about providing instructions, the prompts, to an AI model.
To guide what it creates.
Precisely, to guide its output. But, and this is key, it's not just about, throwing words at it.
No, the quality of the output really hinges on the quality of the prompt, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Klaus Nygaard defines it as the ability to formulate effective questions or instructions that lead to precise and relevant answers.
Effective questions.
Yeah.
Precise answers.
Yeah. Think of it like this. You need to give the AI enough context, enough detail. It's almost like briefing a really smart assistant.
You need to make sure they understand the goal.
Right. The clearer the brief, the better the result.
And it's not usually perfect on the first shot, is it? Like, you can't just type one magic sentence and boom, perfect result.
Oh, definitely not. The Aster Software article really emphasizes this. It's often an iterative process.
Iterative, meaning you try, adjust, try again.
Exactly. You experiment, you try different phrasing, maybe add more detail, refine based on what the AI gives you back.
Okay.
And Astra makes another critical point. The overall success of all this generative AI stuff, it really depends on our ability to communicate effectively using these prompts.
That makes a lot of sense. I remember that Astra piece mentioned some, frankly, staggering growth projections for AI. Trillions of dollars driven by generative AI.
Yeah, huge numbers. And prompt engineering is right at the heart of making that useful.
So when the AI gives you bad output, it's often our fault.
Well, often it's the prompt, yeah. Astra points out that poor outputs frequently stem from prompts that are just too vague.
Or lacking context.
Or lacking context or missing key bits of information. They draw a really good contrast. The AI tech itself is incredibly complex, right? These deep learning algorithms.
Sure.
Getting value out of it often just comes down to asking clear, specific questions.
So you don't need a PhD to use it effectively.
Not at all. You need to be a good communicator, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why this whole field of prompt engineering is kind of emerging as its own specialism.
And there's actual data on this, right? Astra mentioned a study.
Yes. They cited research showing that using specific prompt engineering techniques boosted performance by, on average, over 11%.
Wow. 11.46%, I think it was. That's not trivial.
Not at all. It really shows the leverage you get from crafting prompts thoughtfully. These are a neat analogy.
Yeah.
Think of AI assistants. They're only as smart as the orders, the prompts you give them.
Ah, the classic garbage in, garbage out.
Precisely. What's also encouraging, though, is other research they mentioned suggesting that well-prompted large language models can sometimes match what human prompt engineers can achieve.
Interesting. So the potential is there within the model if prompted correctly.
Right. And Astra highlights that this makes it accessible. It's a skill many different people can learn and benefit from, whether you're in marketing, sales, operations.
It doesn't require a super specific technical background necessarily.
Exactly. So, okay, let's talk about what actually makes a prompt good. What are the key elements? Astra laid out quite a few.
All right, let's break it down. What should we be thinking about when we're writing these instructions?
Okay, first off, clarity and specificity. Be really clear, really detailed about what you want.
Don't be vague.
Don't be vague. Second, provide necessary context and background. Don't assume the AI knows your specific situation or needs.
Right. Doesn't share your brain.
Yeah, anyway. Also, think about logical flow. Structure your prompt so it guides the AI towards the kind of response structure you need.
Okay, so the structure of the prompt matters too,
Definitely. And assigning a role can be super helpful.
like telling it who to be.
Yeah, like act as a marketing expert.
Yeah.
Or you are a historian specializing in. That focuses the AI.
Ah, I see. What else?
Specifying the tone and style you want is important. Do you want it formal, casual, persuasive, humorous? And, maybe surprisingly, good prompts often aren't overly complex. Avoid jamming too many difficult tasks into one single prompt.
Break it down if needed.
Right. And finally, a really well-crafted prompt should ideally reduce the need for lots of back-and-forth clarification. Get it right up front.
That all sounds logical. The Astera article had that great before and after example, the marketing email one. Can you walk us through that? It really drove the point home.
Oh yeah, that was a perfect illustration. So the first prompt, the before, was really generic.
What did it say?
Something like, generate a persuasive and informative marketing email about the product's features with a call to action. Very basic.
And the result was?
Meh. Pretty much. Adequate, but totally uninspired. Forgettable. It didn't ask for a good subject line, didn't name the product, didn't mention the target audience's specific problems.
No social proof either, I bet. Like testimonials.
Exactly. No social proof, no guidance on formatting, like using short paragraphs or bullet points. And the call to action was just kind of tacked on, not very compelling or urgent.
Okay, so it ticked the box but wouldn't actually achieve much.
Right. Now the after prompt, that was a different story. It was much more detailed.
How so?
It specifically asked for a subject line creating urgency. It named the product Smart Nest. It told the AI to address challenges faced by busy professionals.
Ah, targeting.
Exactly. It explicitly requested incorporating a customer testimonial and mentioning an industry award. It asked for short paragraphs and bullet points for readability.
Nice.
And it refined the call to action, making it time sensitive. The difference in the email output was, well, huge. Much more effective.
Really shows the prompt acting like a detailed blueprint for the AI, like build this specific thing this way.
That's a great way to put it. Now, the Tutorials Point guide brought up different types of prompts too, didn't it?
Yeah, they categorized them. What were they?
Well, first, just natural language prompts. Basically, talking to the AI like you'd talk to a person using everyday language. That's the most intuitive way. Then, system prompts. These are more like predefined instructions or templates, often used for getting structured, consistent output.
Useful for repetitive tasks, maybe?
Could be. And finally, they mention conditional prompts. These guide the AI based on specific rules or context, sort of like, if X happens, then do Y.
Okay, so different tools for different jobs. Now, how does this work in practice? Tutorials Point said it's iterative and complex, not just one magic formula.
All right, that's crucial. No single perfect recipe. But they did offer some general principles.
Like what?
Start by really, truly understanding the task. What do you want the AI to do? What does the ideal output look like? Get clear on the goal first.
Makes sense.
Then, if it's a complicated task, break it down. Use simpler, more focused prompts for each step.
Divide and conquer for AI.
Exactly. And as we keep saying, be specific. Provide that relevant context. Don't hold back on the details the AI might need.
And be ready to experiment.
Absolutely. Try different phrasing, different structures, see what works best. That trial and error is just part of the learning curve with prompt engineering.
So how do you judge if a prompt is working well? Is it just like a gut feeling?
Not entirely. Tutorials Point suggests looking at specific metrics. Things like the quality of the output, is it well written? The relevance, does it actually address your prompt? And coherence, does it make logical sense?
Okay, objective measures.
And they also stress the importance of user feedback. If other people are going to use the AI's output, does it actually meet their needs?
Right. And what about ethics? Did they touch on that?
Yes, briefly but importantly.
Right.
They mentioned considering fairness and trying to mitigate biases when you're designing prompts, which is a whole complex area in itself.
Definitely a big topic.
Okay.
Okay, this is starting to form a clearer picture. Let's shift to the engines behind all this. Large language models, LLMs. All the sources seem to agree they're central.
They absolutely are. Prompt engineering is fundamentally about interacting with LLMs.
So what is an LLM, basically?
As Nygaard explains it, they're very advanced AI systems. They can analyze and, crucially, generate human-like text. Increasingly other things, too, like images, audio, even video.
Language process.
Yeah. Nygaard specifically breaks down generative pre-trained transformer, the GPT in ChatGPT.
Okay, break it down for us.
Generative means it creates new stuff. It doesn't just retrieve existing information. Pre-trained means it learned from absolutely massive amounts of text and code data beforehand.
Okay.
And transformer is the specific type of AI architecture, the neural network design, that lets it handle language so effectively, understanding context and relationships between words.
So it learned language patterns from all that data.
Exactly. And Nygaard highlights something fundamental. LLMs work on probabilities.
Probabilities. How so?
Based on their training, they predict the most likely next word or sequence of words to follow your prompt. He used that Danish example, "Summon a robber is skoven."
As you shout in the forest.
Right. The model calculates that the most statistically likely completion is "Formensvar," you get an answer. It's choosing based on patterns it learned.
So it's like a super sophisticated autocomplete in a way, making highly educated guesses.
That's one way to think about it, yes. And this probabilistic nature is also why, as both Nygaard and Astra point out, they can sometimes hallucinate.
Yes, hallucinations. Making things up confidently.
Exactly. Producing plausible sounding but factually incorrect information. It's a critical limitation you have to be aware of.
Definitely. Nygaard also made the point, they aren't search engines, right? Not like Google.
Very important distinction. They don't typically have live, real-time access to the constantly updated web in the same way a search engine does. Their knowledge is largely based on their training data, which has a cutoff point.
Got it. And the scale is just mind-boggling. GPT-4 having 1.7 trillion parameters.
It's immense. That scale is what allows them to learn grammar, language structure, usage patterns, facts, theories. So much nuance.
And Nygaard listed some of the big players.
Yeah, he gave a quick rundown. OpenAI's models, obviously. Microsoft's Copilot, which leverages OpenAI tech. Google's Gemini. Meta's Llama 3. Anthropic's Claude models. Elon Musk's Grok. Perplexity AI, DeepSeek, Alibaba's Quinn. It's a crowded space.
Lots of options, probably with different strengths.
Right. Some might be better for creative tasks, others for coding, others for analysis, and so on.
Very dynamic. Okay, let's look ahead a bit. That Reddit discussion you mentioned, someone asking about getting certified in prompt engineering to boost their income quickly. What does that signal?
Well, it definitely shows that people are seeing prompt engineering as a valuable, potentially money-making skill. There's real interest there.
The responses were maybe a bit more cautious.
Yeah, the consensus in that thread seemed to be that while prompt engineer isn't quite a standardized, universally recognized job title with formal certifications everywhere yet,
Right.
the underlying skills are absolutely becoming more and more valuable across many different existing roles.
So less about a specific job title, more about a crucial competency.
I think that's a good way to put it. Someone on Reddit actually broke down proficiency into levels: beginner, intermediate, advanced.
Oh, interesting. What did that look like?
Beginners focus on just crafting clear, direct prompts. Intermediate might involve more complex techniques, combining prompts, using specific tools. Advanced level could mean really understanding AI evaluation, building complex workflows.
Progression of skills.
And something else that came up strongly in that discussion was the need for domain expertise.
Meaning knowing the subject you're asking the AI about.
Exactly. You need to know your field, whether it's marketing or law or medicine or whatever, to guide the AI effectively and to properly judge if the AI's output is actually any good. Prompting skills alone are enough.
That makes total sense. You need to know what a good answer even looks like.
Precisely. And the Astra article really backs this up. They argue that even as AI gets easier to use interface-wise, that ability to craft well-reasoned, insightful prompts will still be crucial for getting high-quality, relevant results, especially for complex stuff.
So the future isn't AI just reading our minds. We still need to be good instructors.
According to these sources, yes. Astra also points out that understanding AI's limits, like those hallucinations we talked about, and knowing how to prompt in ways that mitigate those risks, that's going to be a real competitive advantage.
Okay, so knowing the weaknesses is as important as knowing the strengths.
Absolutely. Astra's conclusion is basically that AI's true power is unlocked by the user, by your ability to guide it skillfully. They even see prompt engineering becoming as vital as coding in some contexts, especially with AI agents being integrated into platforms.
And Tutorial's point mentioned future directions too.
Yeah, things like automated prompt generation AI helping us write better prompts and adaptive prompts that learn and adjust over time based on how you interact with them.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What are the main things you, our listeners, should take away from this deep dive?
I think the core idea is that prompt engineering is really this crucial skill of talking effectively to AI to get what you need.
It's more than just asking questions.
Much more. It involves clarity, yeah, but also providing context, being willing to experiment and iterate, and having at least a basic grasp of how these large language models actually work, their capabilities and their quirks, like hallucinating.
And it seems clear that as AI keeps evolving and embedding itself deeper into, well, everything, work, life, this skill is only going to grow in importance.
Absolutely. For you listening, especially if you're focused on learning efficiently, understanding prompt engineering is really a direct route to leveraging AI's power more effectively.
So the advice is get experimenting.
Definitely. Start playing around with different AI tools, try out different ways of prompting. That promptingguide.ai site mentioned on Reddit could be a good starting point for techniques.
Right. So maybe the final thought for you to take away is this. Start noticing how you interact with AI. How could you apply these ideas, clarity, context, iteration, in your own prompts? Think about how developing the skill might actually shape your own learning, your work, your future.
Yeah, it's not just about getting faster answers. It's about learning how to have more productive, more powerful conversations with this technology that's changing so much around us.
Thanks for listening to the AI Podcast Experience. Hit that subscribe button, share it with a friend, and catch us every week with new AI-generated episodes available on Spotify and YouTube.